I love. I look at even the hard times in our lives, they're part of who I am. We're different by the way we treat each other and we treat others.
Who is Matt Toronto?
I wake up every day thankful. I want to surround myself with amazing people. And I love being a part of helping people have wonderful lives.
It's what we are, in my opinion, here on the planet to do, is help others and serve others.
I think it really makes you appreciate the blessings that you have in your life so much more. It would be ideal if as adults we changed easily, but let's be honest, we don't change so easily once we're adults. I struggled a lot with that. I didn't want anybody to know I was struggling with it.
To really be a great leader, you have to be vulnerable. To see the glass, it can only be half full, no matter what. It doesn't really mean anything. It motivates them, but it doesn't inspire them. This will inspire.
I look back and I know there's so many decisions I could have made better, but look where I am.
Well, I want to start by saying thank you for your time, for coming on, and I will.
Happy to.
I just want to tell our audience a little tiny bit of background because it's important to me. I don't like talking too long, but I got to say that. I am very fortunate to have fallen into this space. The med spa that, Ravi is my med spa, and really, I owe so much success to Matt and Kathy Toronto. And I'm not, this is not blowing smoke. This is the truth, guys. If you want to see who I modeled Ravi after, in terms of the structure, how to treat your team and everything, and I have really, Matt and Kathy, it was by the fortune of Saitan sending me there to get trained, which I thought was crazy. I want to go to a place that does a lot of laser stuff, and sending me to Kansas City. I thought they'd send me to Hollywood or something, Miami, New York, and they sent me there. And sure enough, it was so good. Sent my esthetician back. We've been back multiple times, and I just recently, within the last year, reached out to Matt to ask him to do a video for me. And Matt, it's about someone who I saw you were on a podcast with Danielle. Talk about so anyway, for those who are in the audience who are thinking of who either run a med spa or thinking of getting into that kind of, having a place, I can't recommend Matt and Kathy more. We'll get into what they do and the names of their places, but big, huge influence on my life and on Ravi for sure. So thank you for that. I just really want to thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're lucky like you. We love what we do, right? Been doing it a long time, and it's fun to share all the successes as well as all the dumb mistakes we've made and learned from. And we enjoy it, and we love working with you, Lonnie. I mean, it's been a pleasure all these years.
Yeah. So let's start by I'm going to ask you a question. Who is Matt Toronto?
Oh, man, I think on my tombstone, if you ever come visit me after I die, it's going to say, "Your life's Matt Toronto. He paid no attention to details." I am just the big picture, always thinking of stuff. And then what I've learned is I want to surround myself with amazing people and create a team. It's my favorite thing is create a team of people that you love being around, that they know how much you care about them, and then create a great business. I had a neat experience when I was young. In high school and college, I worked at a mom and pop sporting goods store in Lawrence, Kansas, called Morris Sports. And the husband and wife who owned it just were the neatest people. And it was a job I just loved because they made it fun. And they're the ones who made me want to own my own business. And I grew up in a family with no money, single mom, just started working when I was 13, and I would wait tables in high school and loan money to my mom for groceries. It's not exactly the way you ideal way to grow up, but it taught me and my brother and sister a really strong work ethic. Worked my way through college, didn't want to take any student loans, so I went 5 years and just worked 40 or 50 hours a week to pay for it. I just learned that, hey, if you want to achieve anything great, you're going to have to bust your tail to do it. I was very lucky. I experienced it. Took me a long time to find my niche. when I graduated from college, before the graduation from college and the 13 years before I got into aesthetics, I worked for 9 different companies, just trying to find something that really I was passionate about. Learned a lot from each one, and by I'm telling you, a circumstance, just a phone call from a friend of mine who worked for a plastic surgery manufacturing company called Paget Instruments in the mid '90s, said, "Hey, there's this company from Europe launching this thing called microdermabrasion in the United States, and they're looking for distributors. It looks really cool. You should take a look at it." And I did, and I thought, God, this is kind of a neat industry. And I did a lot of public speaking and product development before that. And so I secured a 6-state region in the Midwest, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and started selling this to plastics and derms. And I drove 70,000 miles a year. I started selling lasers and skincare products and did that for about 6 years, and really enjoyed it. Just straight 100% commission. I didn't make a penny if I didn't sell anything. And I was back then the companies didn't use reps. Okay, they used independent reps. They didn't use employees. And I really just thought I learned a lot about the industry over 6 or 7 years. And in 2001 decided, I would love to have my own clinic. And I opened up a tiny little clinic utilizing the devices I was selling. And my initial thought was, this is going to help my sales process, because now I can go into somebody like you, Lonnie, and say, hey, I want to show you this laser. And not only am I trying to sell it to you, I own it and we use it every day. And I'm going to tell you how we make this work. And it actually was a good idea. It worked well. It really gave me more credibility. But what happened was I liked the clinic better than I liked that. It was just more fun. And so, yeah, we started small, with 2 employees, and God, 23 years later, we're here. But one thing, and Lonnie, I know you agree with this. I've been in this industry for almost 30 years now. I wake up every day thankful that I'm in it. I love what I do. Kathy, I met Kathy in this industry, my wife, and we've been married for about 9.5 years now, and she's been in it forever. And we feel blessed. We just love this industry.
Yeah, well, I certainly am late to the game, but I love it too. But I'm going to ask a question, a follow-up question. That's a story, as you know, I know that, but a lot of people know that. It's pretty easy to figure this out on the first page of Google. So I want you to stop for a second and tell me, who is Matt Toronto?
Ooh, you want to go deeper, huh?
Yeah, Matt, I want to know, who is Matt Toronto?
I am probably the best way I would describe myself is I literally am just driven by relationships.
Relationships.
It's the thing I love the most. I just love the relationship I have with my wife and my kids. I love the relationship I have with my staff and my friends and my family. I mean, I am literally always looking for the path that is the most fun. And Lonnie, you've been to my clinic. The thing, we just had a staff meeting this morning. We stress all the time. We are not different because we offer Botox. There's 200 places in Kansas City that offer Botox. We're different by the way we treat each other and we treat others. And if I die and there's only one thing people remember me by, I would hope it would be that I was really, really generous, financially and time-wise, with my time. Um, I love, and it drives me more than anything, is creating wonderful jobs for wonderful people. And the biggest thing I'm proud of, Lonnie, is we have no turnover. The first nurse I hired 23 years ago is still with us. She's 69 years old, kicks butt, works full time. I want this place to be just this haven of fun and joy and continual learning. And there's nothing I like seeing better in my life, not just at work. Laughter. I want people getting hugged. I want smiles. I'm just driven by joy, and I love it. I just love making people happy, and I love being a part of helping people have wonderful lives. That's probably the biggest driving force in my life.
And Matt, do you consciously work on creating and fostering relationships both in professionally and personally? How do you do that? Is it a conscious thing, or what is your skill set?
It is. I think it's something, and my favorite quote I've ever heard about business was from Richard Branson, and it was, train your staff so well that they could leave you and get any job they want, but treat them so well that they will never leave you. And I think that is, I think that can apply to your children. I think it can apply just be an amazing person, give them great opportunities, and then help them improve their lives, and move up financially, mentally, but then treat them so well and create such an atmosphere that they just never want to leave. The only turnover we have is involuntary turnover. Like I just lost one of the best estheticians I've ever seen because her husband took a job in Phoenix and they moved. That stuff's going to happen, but nobody leaves here because they're getting a better job here in Kansas City. And that's not just about the fact that we pay well, but we pay very well. We have a family first policy, meaning your family is more important than your job. And as long as it's not abused, we will always put your family as a priority over your job. I don't care if it's sick, somebody's dying, divorce. With 55 employees, we always have something going on, right? Pregnancies, sadly, some people, will go through a divorce. We are going to, at work and even outside, we're going to wrap our arms around anybody having difficulty, and we're going to help them in any way we can. And it's not just, I think you have to feel it. This is true feelings that we have, but then acting on it. And what you said, this is every day. In fact, at our meeting today, I said, what makes us different is the quality of people that we employ, but the way we treat people is what makes aesthetic care different. It's what makes Chick-fil-A different, right? What makes Nordstrom different than some of their competitors. And every day, every person we talk to on the phone, every person who walks in our door, we have one job: eliminate their desire to ever go anywhere else. And Lonnie, you've been doing this for quite a while. I've been doing it forever. Botox does not fascinate me anymore. I've been around it for almost 30 years. I don't get out of bed and think, oh, I'm working with Botox today. But the person walking through our door who's about ready to spend $400 or $500 on it, it's a big deal. We have to make it a big deal. So what you say, it's a conscious effort. We talk about this every day, Lonnie, is how can we be better at customer service? And I think that's the main reason we've had so much success is we truly want to treat people better than any of our competitors treat them.
Matt, that is absolutely one of the things I've taken away from being around you. I want to, for our audience at home, I want to key in on something that I'm afraid might get lost. And this goes to leadership. And what Matt does and what he does so well is the part of the sentence, Matt, you said is we say it, what, every day.
Not even multiple times every day.
So it is the leader's role, in my opinion, and you model this, is that how many years you've been having aesthetic care? How many years?
23 for aesthetic care, but I've been in the business for almost 30.
But 23 is in aesthetic care, so and people don't leave. So they've been around you so much. So the question is, Matt, why do you repeat this, not just every day, but multiple times a day, if they've heard it already? Why, Matt?
I think it has to be just a foundation of who we are. And, the best book I ever read about managing people is The Customer Comes Second. And the whole theory of this book is my staff is my most important client, right? And, we always look at our top 100 clients every year. Our best client last year spent $33,000 here. That's a very important client. They're not as important as my staff. Okay. I am not egotistical enough to think that the only reason this clinic does well is because of me. It does well because we hire amazing people and we train them hopefully incredibly well. But the biggest thing is we treat them ridiculously well. And listen, we do so many silly things, Lonnie. We have this thing going. I started it and they love and hate me for it, but I love to scare people. I know it sounds horrible. I scare my staff all the time, but now they scare me. They scare each other. It's a thing we have. We just love, I found this little thing online. It makes a little strange noise at random times. One could be a cricket, one's a little voice. Teeny little thing. I put it behind my manager's desk. And for 3 days, she thought she was losing her mind because about every 12 to 15 minutes, she'd hear what sounded like a little cricket. And she's in, and they're looking everywhere. But we all do this to each other. And the reason I do it, one, it's fun, but listen, we're not curing cancer here. Lonnie, you've been a doctor in medicine dealing with serious things. And I'm not saying that we want to take this lightly, but come on. This is like a jewelry store. We're asking people to spend money on something they do not need. I tell people all the time, you need to eat and drink. Botox is not a need, it is a want. Let's treat it like that. You know, jewelry is not a need. And yet every woman I know has jewelry. They like it, right? It's something people like. We're in the business of a luxury item. Now, we want to be amazing at it, but we want it to be special. So when somebody walks through that door, and I want my front desk staff with an engaging, hello, how are you doing today? And chatting about the weather and not just your typical front desk that, oh, yeah, you have an appointment at 10. Okay, mark you down, have a seat, we'll be with you in a minute. No, we want to be totally different than that. I want people feeling an energy. And one thing my managers know, their first and most important job is to continually monitor the energy level of my clinics. I want them, because Lonnie, you know, we don't all have good days, right? COVID taught us a lot. I mean, that was a tough deal to deal with all the cancellations and your own staff being sick. And then we've got times when a laser goes down. We got weather issues. We've got, stuff in personal lives. We don't all have good days. And then we have difficult clients, right? I always tell my staff 90% of everybody who walks through our door, we love them, they're wonderful. 10% we wish to God never knew we existed. Because there's just difficult human beings in this world, and it can bring you down when you deal with that. So my managers continually are walking through our area, our space, sensing, and anything they feel starts to go south, let's jump on it. If Judy, one of my nurses, has a difficult client who did something that was frustrating, pull her, say, hey, the next client that comes in should not be affected by the jerk that you just saw. And so we do this, this is ongoing. We're always, and then the other thing is, listen, is I want my team to always be on the lookout for each other. Okay. And we talk about this all the time. If you notice the front desk person by you is having a difficult day, maybe they had something tough happen. You know what? Let's help them. Let's help them. Let's wrap our arms around them. Let's see if we can make their day better. One thing that I loved in that book, The Customer Comes Second, and we talk about this, we have 3 staff meetings a month, and we mention this at every staff meeting. If we all walk through the door every day with one major goal, and that is today I'm going to make all my coworkers' job better. I mean, think about that if we do that every day. What an amazing place you'll have. And that really starts with also not tolerating gossip, backstabbing, drama. Those are not tolerated in our clinic. We're going to care for each other and treat each other well. We are not going to gossip. We're not going to backstab. That is the quickest way you'll lose your job here.
Pat, tell me about a time, because I can't believe at some point in your hiring you didn't get it right. And
I've made some stupid hiring mistakes.
Tell me about a time that you early on when you had to let someone go, how you did it. Did you wait too long? Tell me about that.
I would say some of the biggest mistakes I've made is not following my own advice on that topic. Because what I tell my consulting clients is if you have a disruptive force in your clinic, you have to let them go quickly. You can't. It would be ideal if as adults we changed easily, but let's be honest, we don't change so easily once we're adults. And so I had an amazing esthetician, and I'm telling you, she generated a crazy amount of as an esthetician, she would have $60,000 and $70,000 months. But she did not play well with others. She was very territorial. She didn't want to help others. She wanted herself to get better, but she didn't want other people around her to get better. It was all about her. And I didn't see this, right? She was very dynamic, great salesperson. And one of my staff came to me and said, listen, I just want to let you know that this person, nobody likes working with her. I'm like, oh my God. So I sat down with her. I got some feedback, and my hope was I could change her, that she could be a team player, that she could care about her coworkers. To be honest, I should have known better. She was not going to change. And I waited too long, just what you said, Lonnie. And it got to the point where if I finally didn't let her go, I would have lost some other staff. They would have left because of her. And when I let her go, you should have seen, it was like a cloud was lifted off of the other estheticians. And it taught me a big lesson. This was a long time ago when this happened. And now what I do, so we have a very unique interviewing process. It's very elaborate. It's kind of too tedious, but it's too important. But I tell people when we finally narrow it down and I offer somebody a job, I sit down and I want to tell you some reasons you do not want to take this job. The first thing, the world is filled with average people, and the world needs average people, right? There's jobs that need to be done that the high achievers are not going to do. Nothing wrong with being average. You just can't work here. We only hire extraordinary people who are driven to be the best they can be, who are driven to treat people incredibly well, who have a wonderful attitude and just are fun to be around. So that's one reason if you're satisfied with being average, no problem, just you can't work here. Two, if you need a specific job description and you believe there's things outside of that that are below you and you're not going to do, don't work here. Because your job description is simple. It's anything that needs to be done. And I don't care if that's emptying trash, checking somebody out, turning over a treatment room. You're going to see me do it, and I'm the owner, right? We all do it. We all help each other. Three, if you're somebody who likes to backstab, create a little drama, get in little cliques, don't take this job because that is not tolerated here, okay? Four, you need to be hyper-focused on customer service. You need to, on a daily basis, go out of your way to treat our clients so incredibly well that they'll never want to go anywhere else. And the last thing is, if you're really boring, don't take this job. We got to be around you. We don't like boring people. We want fun people. So I go through that, and then I let them know. At 90 days, you and I are going to have a meeting, okay? After I see you in action for 3 months, and you see us in action for 3 months, I'm going to sit down, and I'm just going to ask you honestly, did you make a good decision? You've been here for 90 days. You get a feel for who we are as a business. Do you look at this as, are you excited about it? Is this something you can be passionate about? Do you look at this as a long-term opportunity? And then I'm going to also ask myself in front of you, I've seen you work for 90 days. Did I make a good decision? Because, and I tell them this, it would be better for both of us to cut ties at 90 days if it's not a good fit. Does not mean you're a bad person, doesn't mean I'm a bad person. Sometimes it's just not a good fit. And I learned that, the 90-day rule, from the book Good to Great. And I will tell you, Lonnie, it's helped so much. And just in the last 5 years, 2 different times after 90 days, I've said, you know what, this is not a good fit. So I try to lay it out very clearly what we're looking for in our expectation. And I let them know, listen, my expectation is you're going to work incredibly hard. You're going to help this clinic achieve great things. But in return, you're going to get paid very well, and you're going to have a lot of fun. This is going to be a fun, joyous place to work. So I'm going to do everything I can for you to make your job that way. My expectation from you is that you give it your all.
I would encourage everyone in the audience to bookmark this or save this as a reference because he's the real deal. This is the guy I learned it from. And I verbatim say, or just about verbatim say, much of what Matt has said. Matt, I can't tell you, certainly my practice manager, Lauren, has heard me say it's okay to be average. By definition, most people are average. You just simply can't work here. And it's
Yep.
absolutely, so this is gold, guys. This is key. Now, Matt's not telling you all the reasons people don't leave aesthetic care. And I would like to get into what's another huge reason they stay. And Matt, I would like you to tell us about the Rose Brooks Center.
Oh, yeah. So we decided a long time ago that we are going to be the most active clinic in Kansas City, out in the community, right? Listen, we have a business, Lonnie and I have a business, and we want to work hard and do it well, but we want to make money, right? This is not a non-for-profit skincare center. It's our job. But we want to do it the right way, right? And instead of me squeezing every penny out of here to go in my pocket, I want to, one, retain my staff, pay them very well, more than the industry average. So my payroll's higher than the industry average. But two, I want us to be committed to community service. And so we have gotten involved with a number of different wonderful charities. And the one you just mentioned, Lonnie, is one of our favorite, Rose Brooks. So Rose Brooks is a shelter for abused women and children. It's the only shelter in Kansas City that also allows people to bring their pets, which I didn't think was a big deal, but I found out, we've worked with them, gone through their program, that there are women who will not leave an abusive husband because they don't want to leave their dog. I didn't realize that, but So this is an amazing place. So I first got involved with them, Lonnie, and you probably have this. We get asked a lot to donate to silent auctions, to auction, donate, and we always do. But I got to know them. A client of ours works there, and she's wonderful. And so I told her, listen, we would like to get involved. How can we help? And she goes, well, we love when people volunteer time to come help us at the place. So on a Saturday, this is years ago, the whole staff went to Rosebrooks and we spent a day organizing donations. We mowed their lawn. We did all kinds of stuff. Got to know, got a tour, got to know with what they did. It was a wonderful experience. And since then, we've kind of made them one of our key charities that we raise money for. So some of the things we do, like a couple summers ago, we had a deal that anybody who donated money to Rosebrooks through Aesthetic Care, we would match dollar to dollar up to $5,000. We went a little over. So between the donations, our match, we were able to give them a little over $10,000. And then Kathy and I volunteered to be the chair for one of their they have two big fundraising events. One's called a casino night, where they set up casino and it's an auction. It's a big deal. About 600 people come to this. And we were able to raise almost $400,000 for them, which was really fun. We have events that we will have, complimentary bar, and we never charge and we don't take tips, but we ask for tips, but 100% of the tips goes to Rosebrooks. And so we do all kinds of fun stuff with them. And we've developed a really nice bond, with this staff. And the thing is, Lonnie, the number one reason we do this is because, one, it's a good thing to do, right? It's good to help people like that, and such a wonderful organization. But I will tell you, you can't imagine how good this is for your business. The reputation you build when you are truly out there helping other people, it's a long-term vision, right? It doesn't happen overnight. But I had a lady walk up to me in Lowe's a couple of years ago. It was during COVID. And I had a mask on. She had a mask on. And she taps me on the shoulder and she goes, are you Matt Toronto? And I said, yeah. And how she recognized me, I don't know. But she said, me and my husband are clients of yours. We love your place. But the reason we became clients is we were very involved in philanthropy in Kansas City. She said, almost every charity function we go to, you guys are either there or you've donated to them. You are everywhere. And we love the fact that you're that active in Kansas City. And I will tell you, we even have a section of our website you can go to for charities to go and apply for donations. And I'm telling you, we're doing it a ton now. Not just Rosebrooks, a bunch of other charities. We're very involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, which I think is such a wonderful group. And Kathy and I became a big because of that. So we have a little. We're a big couple. They have Big Brother Big Sister, and we have a little that we're helping. And there's such a need there. But when you start doing those things, I'm telling you, it comes back to you. It returns to you in spades.
Yeah, and Matt, it's really, really important for the folks listening to understand that it's, first of all, it is the right thing to do. It's what we are, in my opinion, here on the planet to do, is help others and serve others.
I agree.
But your team is not working for a paycheck. As good as you treat, as well as you treat them, and as good as well as they get paid, and the fund, everything else, there is a purpose that you have in your life to help others. And they are part of that. They've bought into your just cause, and that is what makes their life so fulfilling. I've sensed it in your thing, and I've modeled after you, and it's so important. I just want to expand on that.
Well, there's, when you involve them too, it's not just, listen, one of the easiest things you can do if you have the financial is just give some money, right? And I'm not saying it's bad, it's good. There's a lot of needs. But I tell you, when you combine that with time commitment, it's a different animal. So we've gotten into, for many, many years, Aesthetic Care adopts two families at Christmas. And what I do is I tell the staff, I said, listen, I want you all to each donate whatever you feel comfortable. And what all of you donate, Kathy and I will match. And we'll take that money and we're going to adopt two families, and we get the lists of the kids, their sizes, what they like and stuff. We had one family last year who's single mom, one of her kids going through a cancer treatment, 4 kids. I mean, it's amazing the need out there. But the staff donated like $2,000. Kathy and I matched it. We go to Costco stuff, we buy these, and then as a group, the staff wraps the presents, and then we deliver them to these homes. And you should see the faces on these kids when they have this ridiculous, amazing Christmas when they're expecting virtually nothing. But it's such a great team building. thing. I mean, we all doing it together. We have one of our top nurses is out with a double knee replacement, and she's unfortunately has some financial situations in her life that aren't good. So same thing. Everybody donated. Kathy and I matched. We got her a huge gift card for food delivery on her double, and some other things that we could help her with. She's missing time at work. But when you involve your staff in it, it's not just us, hey, we're going to do it. It's no, let's get the staff involved in doing that. We had one of the things that literally brought tears to my eyes. One of our staff members a number of years ago, a husband got diagnosed with a very rare form of, it's called triple hit non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
All
He was
three
given a
genetic
10%
mutations.
chance.
Yep.
Yeah, he was given a 10% chance to live. And I mean, I don't know, by a miracle of God, he did live. And the four people that were with him that had this in the program at KU Med Center, he was the only one that lived. But we did a GoFundMe. We raised $25,000 for them. We created a food chain. We just, as a team, just wrapped arms around that family. And it was just, you want to talk about fun and the joy that you feel when you do that. It's really much greater than anything else we do. But when you incorporate that into the fabric of your business does get to be a lot more rewarding. Not even close.
Yeah. Again, I these are such pearls. I can't help but just let the audience know that it's in terms of your team and in terms of your getting clients. In terms of your clients, you could do all the half off syringes you want. You can have all the sales you want. It doesn't really mean anything. It motivates them, but it doesn't inspire them. This will inspire, and the people you want in your business are the people who believe what you believe. And this is what Matt models. This is what he does. And, again, in modeling after you, we supported the Virginia Free Farm that not only grows food to give people who don't have food, but they teach people how to grow their own food. And
How cool is
and
that?
so what did I do? I modeled after Matt and Kathy Toronto, and we went out on a Sunday and we worked on the farm. And that came because I knew what you did, So I just want to make sure people are hearing this. Look, there is you either run a med spa right now or you want to run a med spa. This is your pathway. This is your roadmap. I'm not kidding you. Just follow what Matt does. And Kathy, it works. And it also is fulfilling. But it only works because you are genuinely, Matt, you're genuinely interested in your team. You love them and they love you back. And if you're doing this to make money, just forget about it. There's so many better ways to make money, infinitely better with your time. But if you want to leave the planet better than you found it, I think then this is, I just love it.
Yeah, I think you can, listen, I've worked with well over 2,000 clinics now, consulting and things like that, training. And I will tell you, the ones who truly get it are the ones who understand that the best way to grow your business is, first of all, treating your staff ridiculously well, then customer service that's way better than people expect, but even bigger than that, be active in your community. Be an instrument of change, believe me, Lonnie, it's contagious.
Yeah.
It's contagious. So, and it's fun. I mean, listen, I get way more out of it than I put into it. So it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. And just for the folks listening, we are fortunate now to be in a huge building and everything. But Lauren, my practice manager, I laugh about this. I was in a 1,200 square foot little strip mall, rundown. Our place just wasn't very nice. And I made every single person, after I went to Matt's place, read the Nordstrom's Way. And I thought they must have thought I was crazy. I demanded the most incredible customer service in the world in this little rundown strip mall. And we would not tolerate anything differently. And again, it's there. It's just to believe. It has nothing to do. Matt told me, he said, don't spend your first money on making your place better. Spend money on training your team, right?
Make your staff better. It's the best investment you will ever make. And we do continually training for our staff. And my combined, if you look at my nurses, anestheticians, 19 of them, they have over 225 years experience in aesthetics. 2 of them each have been in it for 30 years. They're still training. They're still, I want to create, and I think I've done an environment of learning. So just in our staffing, every month I assign homework to our staff. And this month the homework is fibroblast cells. And basically I say, I want everybody to study them. Let's learn from each other. I want you to email what you find out. I will go through them. I'm going to pick the best. The best provider that does it gets a $150 gift card to a restaurant of their choice. And the best support staff who does it, same thing. And then we learn from each other. Every month we do this. So we're, Lonnie, what you said, just like me, I started in 1,000 square feet, 4 little rooms. It was not a very nice spot, but I learned a beautiful couch is not what brings people in, right? If you have a $5,000 couch or a $500 couch, that will never change your revenue. What brings people in and brings them back is the way you treat them. And that's what we, and you can't give great customer service if you're not well trained in what you do, right? If you're not a really great injector, a really great laser operator, and continually learning. And one thing we do, Lonnie, that's been very beneficial is we market our when we train. So anytime I bring trainers in, which I do on a regular basis, when I find anybody great that we want to learn from, when I send my staff out to training, which we do a lot, that is on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, our all our social media, our e-blast, because I want my clients, our clients, to see that we are always actively getting better at what we do. And believe me, it works.
Yeah. What do you ever consciously think about being a leader, what leadership means? You speak at a lot of conferences, you consult. Tell me your thoughts about it. And I know leadership is a broad term, but what I'd love to pick your brains just for my own sake. What do you think about leadership and how to lead?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And you know what? The there's a cartoon that was out there a while, and I think it was something like showed a group of people with somebody behind them with a whip, and then it showed a group of people with somebody in front of them pulling them along and showing. And it's the old thing, lead by example. And I know that's a cliche, but it is the truth. I hope my staff looks at me as somebody who is doing what I hope they do, but I'm doing it because it's who I am as a person, right? Not just the community involvement stuff, but a work ethic. Um, they see me the way that I treat each one of them. They see the way that I treat my friends and family. They see that the way I treat my wife. I want them to know, hopefully, that they believe this is genuinely who I am. And when we get together, and every quarter we have a team building function. We've got one coming up here in a couple weeks. I want them to see that I want their lives to be wonderful. I really truly want all my staff here to have a wonderful life. And listen, we all know a front desk staff does not, a person does not make a crazy living, right? But I'm going to pay them better than other people will pay them. I'm going to hopefully have benefits that really help them out. I'm going to have little bonus structures that allow them to make more money the better we do. And I'm going to go out of my way to make sure every day they see me smiling with great energy, hopefully exuding joy and stuff. I just think it's the best way you lead is show people through your actions. My favorite saying in the world is your actions speak so loudly I cannot hear your words. And I think to me that you have a lot of people out there. And I grew up in a very religious family, and my grandfather and great grandfather, Lutheran ministers. We had missionaries staying at our house. I was dragged to every Billy Graham crusade, and it was just the part of the fabric of what we did. And I understand that the way some people view religion is tainted by the hypocrisy of the lives that people lead. That I would go to church every Sunday, but then I go and I screw people over during the week, and it really made me think that if I'm going to lead a life really based on the 33 years of Jesus's life, and believe me, nobody's perfect. It's got to be genuine, right? It can't be a little part-time, every once in a while thing. And so, yeah, I just hope I can be a good example, not just more importantly to my kids and my wife and stuff, but I hope my staff looks at me and says, you know what, he's doing it the right way.
Yeah. Tell me, Matt, about a time during your either personal or professional life through all your travels where it wasn't so easy, or you faced a dark
Oh.
time, or what did you tell me about that?
Well, at the beginning, when I opened aesthetic here in 2001, I still my main source of income was my selling thing, and fortunately, it worked out well. I was doing fine, and but as you know, having a good clinic is not a cheap venture, right? Unfortunately, the technology that we use is fairly expensive. Payroll can be very expensive, and we were clipping along pretty well. And then, do you remember '08, the crash? And I remember thinking, I had some debt. I was, and as you know, Lonnie, the owners get paid last. And I was thinking when they said, "Oh my God, how are we going to survive?" Because again, we're in an industry of a want, not a need. People are going to cut out something like this before they cut out their food. But I will tell you what I remember getting together as a team and saying, "Listen, a lot of our competitors are not going to survive this. There's people, so many that were buried in debt, didn't have to focus on customer service." And I remember telling my staff a story when it was really bad about a massage therapist in town here who literally, I can't even tell you how good this woman is at her job. She, it is just a passion. She has like 17 different designations. She's always learning new stuff. You have a massage by her, it's almost like a doctor telling you she knows your body, your muscles. I mean, it is literally an otherworldly experience. Do you know during that recession, massage therapy got hammered, killed. She was still booked out 2 and 3 months in advance. And I told myself, when you are so good at what you do, people start to make it almost a priority. And do you know, Lonnie, in '08 and '09, we had double digit growth. And I was terrified. I just thought, I don't know if this clinic is going to survive with what's going on with our economy. And I think what we focused on was we have to heighten that every person who walks through the door has an experience that is just ridiculous, because if they're going to make this a priority, when times get tough, it better be amazing. And so I learned a lot that is how we're going to be different. We're not going to be different because we do laser hair removal. We're going to be different because the overall experience, and this starts from the first phone call. How are they spoken to on the phone? That has to be amazing. Like I said before, the way they walk in the door, the energy they feel, the follow, the relationship building skills, man, every one of those is important. So I think just, that was probably the scariest moment, because even though we came out of that fine, I really was worried about this industry back then.
So, you know, I think there's some real similarities in between the two of us that really draw me to you, and I think we both tend to see the glass. It can only be half full, no matter what, and I think that's a strength. It can be a weakness too sometimes. So I'm going to ask you to reflect, because the question wasn't about how you got through it or what the staff training is, because we focused a little more on that than I want to. Tell me about a time when Matt Toronto struggled. Could be from childhood, it could be more, but tell me about a time when you struggled, and obviously you made it through, but there must be something in your life that was a little darker.
Oh, yeah, I think we all do. I mean, I had a little bit of a, different, well, not so different days. My parents got divorced when I was 3. I have no recollection, of my parents being married. And my dad was military. He was gone. I mean, I think in 15 years, I saw him 4 times. So
Wow.
he just decided really not to be a part of our lives.
Wow.
But I will tell you, it's, and I don't mean to downplay difficulties I've had. I just say, my brother and sister were really adverse. They're older than I. Were really adversely affected by what happened. I literally would look at people and see how they handled adversity, and really even from early age, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to always have this optimistic viewpoint. I remember that my mom got remarried, and unfortunately that ended after 17 years. I remember my stepdad saying to me after the divorce that, I just have never understood how you just let things roll off your back without bothering you. And it's not even conscious. I cannot stand feeling sad. I can't stand feeling frustrated. And so most of the time I just look at things in a very, very optimistic way. I would say the one thing, Lonnie, I had some health issues that started in my 20s. I'd always been healthy and stuff, and I was on vacation with some friends, and I just, it was a weird thing. I started feeling weird. I passed out. Went to the emergency room. We were in California. They really didn't find anything. Came back and I got this severe vertigo. I couldn't lay down. I had to sleep sitting up. And I was thinking, oh my God, this is a brain tumor. I had an MRI of the brain. It was fine. And I mean, it would for years. I struggled with this dizziness, vertigo, and they just couldn't diagnose it. I mean, I went to the Mayo Clinic and they did all these weird tests, tilt table tests. I mean, and this was a long, long years and years. And I learned to deal with it. But I think I would say having an undiagnosed illness was a real struggle because you almost don't even know what you're fighting against. And then you start thinking, God, is this, they can't find anything. Is anything wrong? Is it just in my head? And luckily, finally, somebody kind of figured it out. But I had about a 5 or 6 year period where I had to pretend like I felt good because I didn't want other people to know, right? And I was self-employed. I had to work. That was a real struggle because I would be exhausted by the end of the day because I felt terrible. I had a hard time focusing on things with this vertigo, this dizziness. I always felt like I was on a boat dock, and I'd always have my hand against the wall because I was unstable, and that was tough. I look back now, and probably like women in childbirth, it's so horrible. This I'll never have a baby again, but then they do it. I look back now and think, oh, it wasn't so bad. But at the moment, that was very frustrating, and that was just toughing it out.
You were toughing it out.
Yeah. And the one thing is I don't, and this is a problem, Brooke, I'm not very good at sharing. I struggled a lot with that. I didn't want anybody to know I was struggling with it. And I think I grew up as always the kind of the happy peacemaker in the family that nothing bothered me. And so I probably maybe try to live that way, even though sometimes, we have hard things. But yeah, that was probably the most difficult thing I've dealt with is probably 5 or 6 years where I just physically did not, I was struggling, but acting like I felt fine.
Matt, I want to ask you a personal question between you and me because I want to help both you and me and my audience. Do you think this makes you a little less emotionally available to both others and yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think for a long time it did. But thankfully, when I was married, I was divorced 4 years later. Luckily, there's no good divorce, but she's a wonderful person. We've stayed close. We share a child together. We co-parented well. But I got to the point where what I was worried about is was I ever going to have a really deep relationship where really that true love, I was thinking, am I capable of that? And I went to counseling. And I got to tell you, Lonnie, I recommend that to anybody. It was so good for me to dig into that. And I remember with my daughter, who's now 21, I remember a feeling. I was a single dad, and I remember this feeling that it was such a deep love for that girl. And I remember feeling, okay, I would love to feel that for somebody who it's probably easier with her kids. And I got to tell you, I got to thank Kathy for that. I mean, I met Kathy, and oh man, did I fall hard. And I worked hard, but I am just so blessed that I have somebody in my life that I can honestly say I have this deep, who I'm not related to, right? Who I have this deep, deep, deep love for. And Lonnie, that's really changed. I think I'm much better now at opening up. Now, I say that, and this is not, I just rarely feel sad. And I'm not just trying to say I cover it up. I've led this blessed life, man. Sometimes I just pinch myself. I have a job I love. I have people around me that I love. We're healthy. Financially, we're in a place that we can do. We travel. I mean, I don't have a lot to complain about. And then I see it's really opened my eyes when you get involved with people like Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or Rose Brooks, and you see, God, the life that some of these people have, and they truly need help. I think it really makes you appreciate the blessings that you have in your life so much more, right? And yeah, I feel like one amazingly blessed human being, Lonnie.
Yeah, Matt, you again, you're someone to model. I've heard you quote, and I just want to share this before we leave because this is so important. You tell your team, pediatric oncology nurses, that's a hard job. People working, in the Kansas City summer is a hard job, right?
Oh, go be a soldier in the Middle East.
But working in the med spa is not a hard job. You work hard, but it's not hard. And that just models after your whole philosophy, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's a great thing that I think every once in a while we all need to step back and and maybe look at the things we take for granted. You know, one thing, we are very liberal, Lonnie, with staff treatments. I'm a big believer that if you work here, we should be our own best example, right? You don't have to be a supermodel to work here, but shouldn't my staff be trying to have good skin? It's what we
Yeah.
do. And so we have a policy that, and I have 55 employees, that really encourages them to have treatments, be on a plan. And when we started looking at that, there are people I have working here every year get 12, $15,000 worth of complimentary treatments. And I think, you know, Lonnie, if I knew your favorite food was lobster and I gave you lobster every day, pretty soon that wouldn't be special anymore, right? Even though it's a great thing. And I think what we've done, and I think it's important, is we take time to look at how fortunate we are in this job. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn to my staff, but at our annual review, we let each of them know, hey, you know, just want to let you know that this year you had $13,000 worth of complimentary treatments. Happy you did it. But and it's almost like payroll. You know, I really try to teach my staff about payroll because I think most people think their cost to me is their net pay. I get a check for $5,000. That's what I must have caught Matt. But their cost to me is actually 1.21 times their gross pay. So if there was a paycheck of 10,000 and after taxes they received 7,500, their cost to me was 12,100. So there's a $5,000 difference in what they receive. I don't want them to know this to feel sorry for me. I want them to understand how business works in all areas, and then I think every once in a while we do have to step back and say, let's really look at how blessed we are to be here and the things we have with good benefits and complimentary treatments and liberal time off and the family first policy, because that's not true in every work environment.
Yeah. You know, I gotta ask your perspective. You have, you know, run successful businesses, multiple businesses, consulting. You consult with others. People are very interested in getting into this industry. People are interested in maybe opening their own place. What advice would you give to those people as to, you know, not the nuts and bolts of how to pick out a good location, but what would you say someone comes to you and says, Matt, you know, this is a good industry, or I want to open my own place. What should I be looking for to know if this is right for me? What would you say to them?
Great question. I get this all the, and you know, after working with people who are thinking about it, many times I tell them that this might not be right for you. Because the one thing I say is don't dabble in it. It's very hard to succeed saying, you know, I'm going to try it and I sell this job, so I'm just going to start with injectables only and I'm just going to do them on Fridays and see how that goes. And I was telling them, listen, I'm not telling you that can't work, but what I'm telling you is that's going to be hard. And what I tell people on is this, I promise you, if you get in this industry and you commit to doing it the right way, it will work and you're going to have a lot of fun. The problem is, I believe 80% of the people will not do it the right way, right? Nothing against doctors. They go to school for 12, 13 years to be a doctor, not to be a business person, right? I think what I tell people I work with, the best thing you can do is be honest about what your weaknesses are and hire based on those. And a great book on that is The E-Myth. The E-Myth is a fictitious story about a woman who bakes the best pies in the world. Oh, you got to open a pie shop, and her pies are amazing, but her business stinks, because it's not just about that. And so the clinics I work with are really good. A lot of them doctors are ones who understand I'm going to hire somebody to do the things that I'm not good at or maybe it's outside my skill set. But what I tell people is, one, don't dabble in it, commit to it. But the number one reason businesses fail, not just med spas, is money. And it's the first year. And you got to make sure you plan for that difficult first year financially. And the number one reason they fail is they don't have access to money to get them through that first year. Some of them, they buy this equipment, they spend too much money on the space and things that don't make them money. And by the time they open the doors, they're buried in debt and they have to make money right away. Most businesses are not profitable your first year. It's kind of your learning year. So I just want to, I let them know, honestly, here's how much money you should have. And I help them with where that money's going to go. But you have to have access to money to pay your staff, pay your bill. You can't just have, you can't open with $0 in your operating account. But then I say, listen, whether it's me or somebody else, find somebody who's done this ridiculously well and learn from them. I mean, I wish to God I would have had me 23 years ago.
Yes.
And because if I would have known 23 years ago, I would have gotten here, Lonnie, so much faster. But I had to, the industry was new. I had to make every mistake and learn everything. But find somebody whether it's somebody like us, Lonnie, you, somebody, and model after them, and then maybe improve on what they do. I'm sure there's things we can do better. But instead of winging it and recreating the wheel, learn from the best of the best.
Yeah, yeah, I know, absolutely true, Matt. And I've learned from the best of the best. Thank you and Kathy. I just want to make sure because you hit on some great books. I love that book. To find out if are you someone who wants to be? Are you the visionary? Are you the manager? But. And
Yep.
you introduced me to the book, The Nordstrom's Way, and The Customer Comes Second. While I got on this train, are there any good books or podcasts or people you'd recommend as far as influencing on you?
Secret Service,
Ah,
amazing book. When we were closed for COVID,
okay. Secret Service.
we had to close for 10 weeks, kept the staff fully employed, paid their full salary, everything, made sure nobody was hurt. But I did make them read some books, and we did book club, wrote reports, learned from Secret Service is wonderful.
Great.
And then what you said about the Nordstrom Way, I always have 5 copies here. And every time we hire somebody, day one, they get one,
Nordstrom's
they have
Way.
to read
Yep.
it. Yep. And then the E-Myth, Good to Great, is always a wonderful one. But my favorite probably as a manager is the customer comes second.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
think that taught me
Yeah.
where my priorities needed to be for this clinic to really reach its potential.
Okay, great. And I jotted myself a note. I'm just going to circle back really quickly because I think you and I both have a shortcoming, if I may project it on you, and I've learned this over the years, is that to really be a great leader, you have to be vulnerable. And that's, I think you and I both have a little trouble being vulnerable, but I think that
Hmm.
I believe that, and I've watched you and Kathy. I think she's brought you around to some of that emotional.
Oh, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. Can you think of it? Think
Without
of
a
a time
doubt,
when you
yeah.
were
I
vulnerable.
don't, yeah, you're right. I just, I'm not a big fan of negative feelings and even my own,
Even
right?
when you really have
And
them.
so, yeah, and so no, that's true. And I got to tell you, it's so funny. I think having kids, man, I was somebody who never cried. And
Oh my God.
it's not even that I've never thought it's embarrassing. My brother cried at the drop of a dime. I never thought it made him weaker. It's just something I was uncomfortable doing. I got to tell you, having kids and watching some of the things they do, like awards they get, I'm like a little baby now. I just start to
Yeah.
cry. And it is great. It's fine. But it took me a long time to be open with my emotions like that.
Yeah, it's years of pent up emotions that are coming forth. I find myself crying so
Hmm.
much easier now. Like it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, good movie or a commercial. Kathy and I, our family loves the show The Voice, and there's backstories on there. I'll look over at Kat. She just has tears running down her cheek, and then all of a sudden I feel like, oh my God, I'm crying too. It's just funny
Well,
stuff. But hey,
congratulations.
Lonnie, I hate to cut this short. I've got a call, a consulting call I've got to get on. But I will tell you one thing. I'll tell you, Lonnie, we've worked with thousands, and you're one of our favorite because you're a genuine human being. And I think you and I are a lot alike in a lot of
Yeah,
ways. I'm so happy for your success. I was happy to do this. I know you're going to do it with this, Kathy, and that'll
yeah.
be a lot of fun. But we love the relationship we built with
I
you.
appreciate that. Can you just hear me? I'll make this very quick. We have a last closing question. There's a
Sure.
tradition that this comes from someone who submitted it, and we picked it at random. So
Sure.
I'm gonna make this very brief. You've been given a very special time machine, Matt, and you can go back in your life and change some past decision you made. Is there any decision you would change? What would your life look like now? And if there's not a decision, why not? So, is there anything you would do differently?
Well, it's great question, and it makes me think of the movie Sliding Doors. I don't know if you've
No.
seen that. It's a Gwyneth Paltrow movie, and the movie is very unique. If you haven't watched it, it's very cool. She's running to catch a train, and she barely makes it. And then the movie backs up, it reverses, and she's running to catch that train, and she barely misses it. And then the movie is two movies. It's her life catching the train and her life missing the train, and it's two different lives.
Wow.
And so I look back and I know there's so many decisions I could have made better, but look where I am. And every decision had that. And think about what this, I think about a friend of mine in San Diego. I lived there after college and I was dating this girl and, it didn't work out. I broke up with her and she was a little unhappy with me. She was crying and she was walking out and my roommate drove up, saw her crying, kind of talked to her, comforted her a little bit. They're now married with 4 kids.
Wow.
And I'm just thinking, if I would have never dated her or broken up at that moment, his life would have been totally different. And so I look at even the hard times in our lives, they're part of who I am. And so even though I know I could have made better choices in areas, I'm blessed to be where I am. So I'd be scared to change anything because it might change this.
All right. Well, I won't keep you, but I just want to say again, thank you for all you've done for me. Thank you so much for what you've done for the industry and continue to do. And I just look forward. Every time I talk to you, Matt, I get inspired and I learn. So thank you so much.
Well, and right back at you, man. It's fun. And I'm so happy for your success, Lonnie.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Best to Kat, okay? And Claire, yeah. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. You know, we're on the journey in this aesthetic world together, and I firmly believe, and I know in my heart, that if we stay together, we'll be better than apart. Now I have a little favor to ask you. If you would just hit the subscribe button, it would mean a great deal to me personally, because your one action helps us to enhance the channel and bring you even more great content.